You cannot bully yourself into being consistent. Long term, that is. I mean, you can shame yourself and guilt yourself and bully yourself into short bursts of effort, but never into real long-term sustained growth. That is going to lead to burnout if you just shame and guilt and push yourself to do something. I promise you, I did this for years and years and years. And I hear so many people say, oh yeah, I'm really good at starting and then I always give up and I don't know why. Well, here's why. Your brain, at its simplest form, just does not like to move towards pain. It wants to move away from pain. What it wants to move towards is reward. It wants to move towards pleasure. So the harder that something feels emotionally towards whatever it is you're trying to work at, the more resistance that you will naturally, unconsciously build around that thing you need to do. So with that being said, and that being the frame of today's episode, when you say, I just need more discipline, what you're really saying is, I need to learn more about how to make this feel good enough so that I want to do it. Think about that for a second, because believe me, for years, I worked 110 hours a week for 3 years straight when I was in my early 20s, and I burned myself out. I forced myself. And then I eventually did what everybody will do. When you force yourself to do something, you burn out. But that's the secret, is what I'm trying to share with you, is you have to learn how to make taking that action feel good. Not like punishment, not like pressure. You want it to feel pleasurable. So how do we make it feel pleasurable to ourselves? Well, I'm going to give you kind of a step-by-step process, okay? The first step of the process is to try something that's called the breadcrumb method. The breadcrumb method is really simple. Well, when you look at how most people build habits like they're climbing a cliff, like one huge, painful leap at a time, and they're just working towards it, going and pushing and going and pushing. But the brain doesn't like cliffs. What the brain really likes is trails. Small, clear, low effort paths that eventually lead towards the top of the mountain. And so the breadcrumb method is basically that. What you're going to do is you're going to take you're going to leave little teeny tiny irresistible cues that pull you towards the next step. They kind of make it easier and pull you towards taking the action. Hey, to the 65.6% of you who watch my videos but are not subscribed, yes, we see it. And if you've ever learned anything from any of the videos I've put out, please do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. It helps the channel grow and it helps me keep making more content to help you grow as well. So with that, let's go back to the show. So an example that I'll give you, and you've probably heard me say many times, is if you want to work out in the morning, then lay your clothes out with your shoes, ready to go. So as soon as you wake up in the morning, you're able to take action. You don't have to think about what you're going to wear. It's already ready for you. If you want to write your book and you want to sit down and write, then open your laptop the night before and maybe write yourself a note that says you have permission to write one messy paragraph or one messy page, or just get it out of you. It doesn't matter if it's good or not. And the idea is just like, it doesn't have to be the perfect page. It doesn't be the perfect paragraph. Just get stuff on the paper. If you want to eat better, maybe what you should do is just prep one thing for the next day. Like you can figure out some sort of way to wash and cut fruit so that it's the easiest snack available, because normally when you work from home, you end up going for a bag of chips. And really the key to it is this: you don't want to wait for motivation. What you're trying to do is you're trying to design momentum. That's really what the key is with the breadcrumb method. You're trying to design momentum, because starting is usually the hardest thing for most people. And this is what's most important. You just want to get a little teeny tiny bit of movement started. Like when I think about when I used to go on really long hikes when I'd be in Sedona, right? We just got back from Sedona. We were there for a month. I would think about, oh my God, like this is a 4-mile hike. Like this is, oh my God, I don't know if I want to do this today. It's hot outside. And I started thinking about how long this entire thing's going to be. And I just tell myself, hey, just go out and walk for the first few minutes. If you don't feel like doing it, turn around. I'm like, oh, okay, that's really not too hard. And then so what I would do, I'd go out there, I'd walk for a few minutes, and I'd be like, I feel pretty good. My heart rate's going. It's kind of beautiful out here. I'm just going to keep going. And then I just keep going and I keep going. And the thing is, once you get that movement started, the momentum becomes so much easier. The more that you can remove friction, the more that you'll start doing the right thing without thinking. Think of it like this. Like the way I like to think about it is like, if you remember the movie E.T., and in the movie when they're trying to get E.T. to go somewhere, they put Reese's Pieces out in front of him. You are trying to design your life like you're E.T., and you're trying to put Reese's Pieces out in front of you. So you go from one step to the next one to the next one, and eventually you're where you want to be. So that's the first thing. The second thing that you want to do is this: make your progress visible. Your brain loves evidence that your effort is starting to equal progress. Tony Robbins always says progress equals happiness. Your brain loves evidence that your hard work, your effort is starting to equal progress. That's why tracking, even in small ways, is so powerful. And so one thing that you could do is this. There's a couple different methods, right? Put a calendar on your wall and cross off every day in a big red ink, cross off big X on the day that you take that action that you need to. Because once you see that you get 1 day and 2 days and 3 days, you have a chain going. Now you don't want to break the chain more than anything else and start back at zero. Or you could drop a coin or a bead into a jar after each workout, or when you get 2 hours of focused work done in a session. Or, you can write 1 sentence a day about what you did well. Not how much you did, but what you did. Like what you did well. If you want to lose weight, one thing that's really good to do is to get a scale and then write down your weight every single day. Remember this, there's a really interesting principle that says what is tracked will improve, but what is tracked and recorded will improve exponentially. So if you were to hop on a scale every single day, you're basically tracking your weight. But if you're tracking it and then writing it down, you're tracking it and recording it, and you will improve exponentially. I can't tell you how many people I've coached over the years, and I just give them this tip and they lose weight because now they're tracking and recording it every single day. And once you start to see the weight go down, you don't want to see it go back up. So you start making better decisions. Progress that's seen becomes progress that's sustained. So how can you try to see your progress as much as possible? When you have a bad day, don't beat yourself up. You have to remind yourself of your wins. So like one of the things I hear from a lot of people is like, I always fall off of weight loss because I'll work out for like 17 days. I'll fall off, day 18. And then I guilt myself and I shame myself and I make myself feel like shit, and then I don't do it again. And it's like, well, why don't you just celebrate the 17 days of consistency instead of the 1 day that you fell off? Like celebrate how far you've come. And then what you do is you learn from your mistake. Oh, I messed up on this day, and use it as data so that you don't do it again. Once again, make yourself feel good, because when you feel good, it's easier to take action. So that's number 2. Number 3 is to start to reward yourself intentionally. This is about teaching your brain that effort feels good. The same way if a dog does something that you want it to do, you give it a treat, and it does it again and you give it a treat. You have to train yourself, as weird as it sounds, the exact same way that you would train that dog. You're teaching your brain that the effort that you want to take to create the life that you want feels good. After every session, even if it's just a short one, do something that signals a reward. Step outside, take a real deep breath, a slow breath of fresh air, feel the sun, and just close your eyes and just enjoy being outside for just a minute. Or make yourself your favorite non-alcoholic drink if you're in the middle of work day. Or text someone like your best friend or your spouse or whoever it is that's like your biggest fan and say, I just did this, I'm excited about it. And they come back and like, you're so great, I'm proud of you. Find that person and tell them so that you can start to feel the reward of them being proud of you as well. You can even just go to the bathroom, look in the mirror, smile at yourself and say, I'm proud of you, you're doing a great job. It sounds ridiculous, but there's so much proof that shows that that little reward makes you feel good because it releases a little bit of dopamine, which tells your brain the effort is pleasurable. What you're doing is you're pairing effort with satisfaction, and you're getting your brain to become addicted to this thing because your brain wants more dopamine. And when you do something that feels good, it releases dopamine. If you're not doing something that you want to do, it's because that you are pairing the action with dissatisfaction. You're starting to think about how hard it's going to be, how difficult it's going to be. What if you fail? What if you're not good enough? No, you can't do that. You have to start pairing it with the action that you want with satisfaction, the effort that you want with satisfaction. If you start doing this over time, your brain will start to crave that cycle. Work, reward, repeat. Work, reward, repeat. Or workout, reward, repeat. Workout, reward, repeat. Eat healthy, reward, repeat. It's just like you continue to keep doing this. This is how addiction shows up. And sure, people can be addicted to bad things, but they can also become addicted to good things. Addiction only comes from feeling good after doing something. So that's number 3. Number 4 is to do something that I call shrink the start, right? You want to make it easier to start than it is to avoid. You want to shrink the start of it. So when something feels heavy and big and like a mountain we have to climb, we avoid it. Not because it's impossible, but because starting that thing feels too big. It feels like too large of a mountain. And so what you want to do, the trick of it, is to shrink the start of it. So it's kind of like what I told you a couple of tips before. You're trying to shrink the start, make it easier so that you can get momentum on your side. If you're dreading going to the gym, tell yourself, I'm just going to go for 10 minutes. If you're avoiding sitting down to write your book, just say, I'm going to open the document and I'm just going to write one messy paragraph. If you're overwhelmed by cleaning your house, even if it's something like that, say, I'm just going to do one dish and then see how you feel after one dish. You're trying to shrink the start. Once you start, your brain naturally wants to finish, realizes it's not as big of a deal as you made it out to be, and then you start to get some momentum on your side. And momentum eventually starts to do the heavy lifting. So that's number 4. Number 5 is to add joy into the process. Whether you believe it or not, you're allowed to enjoy the process. You actually need to enjoy the process. For the longest time, I thought I had to struggle my way to success, and success was hard. I need to white knuckle my way through life. You don't. You need to make it more pleasurable. Listen to the music that you love while you're working. Light a candle when you write. Pair difficult things with something that's sensory and soothing and feels good. Don't struggle and white knuckle your way. Just think, I need to do this thing. How can I make this thing more enjoyable? Make it a ritual that feels like you're caring for yourself, not punishing yourself. That's one of the reasons why I say discipline is a form of self-love, is because you never have to be disciplined to do something that's bad for you. Like, you don't need any discipline to eat a big old pint of ice cream, right? But you probably need some discipline to make a healthy meal for yourself. And so you need discipline to do things that are good for you. You don't need discipline to do things that are not good for you. And so make this whole feeling, the whole feeling behind all of it, the enjoying of it, a ritual that feels like you're actually caring for yourself and not punishing yourself. Make it feel special. Pleasure isn't the enemy of discipline. It's not. Pleasure is the fuel to discipline. And so that's number 5. And then number 6, which is a very, very important part of it, is attach emotion to your why. If you want to stick with something for a while, your goal can't just live in your head. Like, you have to have it live in your heart as well. So you have to have a strong why to it. My very first mentor used to always say, if your why is strong enough, your how will reveal itself. If your why as to why you're doing something is strong enough, you'll figure out how to get it done. You'll get it done. You'll figure it out. And so ask yourself, why does this goal matter to me? Why am I doing this in the first place? Who do I become if I keep showing up for this? What part of me am I building through this process? How is this going to change my life, my spouse's life, my children's life? Why is this thing important to me? What am I going to be able to do for my parents if I do X, Y, and Z? And you start actually developing a real why behind the goal. And then you remind yourself of that thing often. Write it somewhere that you see it, somewhere that you see it every single day. Read it every single morning. Remind yourself of it. Because the more emotionally connected that you are to your goal, the easier it becomes to act on it. I promise you that. And so you have to understand, becoming addicted to discipline isn't about turning into some robotic high performer that just white knuckles their entire way through life. It's really about how to create a life where the things that are good for you actually feel good to do. And so you need to stop chasing motivation and white knuckling your way through life, and stop waiting for the perfect moment or the perfect mindset, and really start to build systems that make consistency feel more natural and more enjoyable in some sort of way. And if you do this slowly, you start to become the kind of person who wants to work. I know how crazy it sounds. I was gone for an entire month in Sedona. I just got back and I was so excited to sit down in my office and actually start to work, because I've associated so much pleasure with what it is that I do. Is there still some struggles? Is it hard to do a lot of times? Yeah, absolutely. But there's much more enjoyable moments because I've associated so much pleasure with taking action, because it feels like you're coming home to yourself every single time that you do. And you start to realize the life that you're building is getting closer and closer and closer. And so you want to start working harder. And so that is how you get yourself to become addicted to the discipline that you need to create the life that you want.